This is something that I think America has to decide. This is and this is what I do as an advocate now. I want us to shift our paradigm and how we think in America. We should respond to disasters and what we consider are our principal rights as Americans when we are victims of disaster. With Katrina, the government's response was, let us allow the private sector to do as much as it can, and then the government will come in and supplement the rest. Why? Because in the government's mind, recovery is not a right, it's a privilege. It's a privilege that we will bestow upon you if nobody else gets around to getting it done. So if you can't get it from the Red Cross, if you can't get it from those churches that are coming in, if you can't get it from Kellogg, Ford, Robert Wood Johnson, you name the philanthropic group, if you can't get it there, then we'll step in. As we suffer more in America from disasters, be they flooding in the Midwest, fires on the West Coast, whatever happens on the East Coast when it comes to snowstorms or whatnot, dams breaking, or what we know will happen just about every year. My analogy falls because this year, of course, we had no hurricanes, so when I go and give this speech, nobody pays attention to me. But just about every year, we know we're going to have a hurricane. Is that recovery from a disaster has to be a right. And if you are displaced as a result of a disaster, you should have some basic rights to returning to housing, having medical care provided to you, and having access to it, and on and on and on. And we talk about these in terms of what the UN put out as far as guiding principles for internally displaced people. But we can think of them broader in the United States as those rights you get just because you live here. Not because you were born here, but just because you live here. And because we have the resources to provide them. And so I've worked a lot since Mr. Obama has been in office with a lot of different groups and some phenomenal advocates, including the Children's Defense Fund, and trying to shift the thinking about what it is. Now, and had we thought that way, 2 years down the line, we would not have been talking the same way we are talking now about still continued displacement of people and things. We would not be talking about mental health being in a state of crisis in New Orleans that we push under the rug because we just sit around hoping and praying we don't have another crazy person kill a police officer. We wouldn't have people living under bridges that we push away when the Saints come in on Sundays to play, and then we let them go back. So I know that just like it happened here in California, when you have these, this year more fires in California than any other year. So people get displaced. I want those people to be thinking in terms of, how does our government respond? Post-Hurricane Katrina, when you shut down hospitals, when you shut down mental health facilities, when you have in a city this size that has the largest mental health facility being our parish prison, come on now. Parish prison, and they're not really giving mental health. They're just, if you act crazy enough in public, somebody's going to send you to jail. They might put you on a 7, 10, or 30-day hold, but then they got to let you go because all that's wrong with you is that you acted a little crazy out in public. They're not a hospital, right? And I don't know the answer. I'm rambling. I don't know the answer, but this is just wrong.